Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we hear what pilots have to say. And today we have a special guest by the name of Breck, and I'll allow her to introduce herself a bit more in a second. But we've had her on the show. She was actually our second episode, so it's a little exciting to talk to you again, Brecken, because you've progressed in your training a bit, and I'll let you kind of talk a little bit more about that later. So in this episode, you guys will get to hear a little bit about why Brecken likes to fly, why she chose to be here at Thrust. But even more importantly, you get to get a little insight about becoming a student and then becoming a CFI, and maybe we'll get a little more technical stuff out of you if we can figure out where we want to go with it. But without further ado, would you mind introducing yourself briefly?
Hi, I'm Brecken Harris. I'm CFI here at Thrust. I've been working here for almost a year now as a CFI.
That's awesome. A year, I feel like it sounds like from all my conversations of talking to different CFIs, a year is kind of a sweet spot of like feeling like, okay, I can settle into this a
Yeah,
little more.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What's it been like so far? I mean, you're a CFI now.
Mhm.
You were a student, obviously, here at Thrust. What was it like learning to fly the plane? Was that something that you thought about beforehand, and what was it like?
It was honestly pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like just learning how each little thing works
Hmm.
too. Cuz like you have to go deeper into it. You can't just know how to fly the plane. You have to know how each thing works.
Hmm.
Um which is pretty cool to know. When you're talking to people about it, they have no idea what you're talking about. It's like gibberish.
Yeah.
But it's like it's it's honestly it's easier than you think, I'd say.
Hmm.
Like just flying the plane, it's more the background knowledge is the hard part.
Mm.
That's what you have to really study in and learn all about. Is just all the background to it.
Do you and so I hear that about people. People say, "Oh, it's actually really technical. There's a lot to know."
Mhm.
People joke about pilots being meteorologists, and
Lawyers,
exactly. So,
doctors, yeah.
let's talk about maybe your first few times going up and having to fly, and then when you get to your solo. I'm sure there's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk to me a little bit about how it felt the first couple times you were flying, and then tell me a little bit about your solo?
Yeah. It was definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Like my instructor, he let me take off and I was like, because he's like, go ahead, take off. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Throttle,
Um,
yoke, rudders, everything.
exactly. I'm like, okay. And it was pretty crazy. It's just like the feeling is insane. Like
Mhm.
flying the plane by yourself for the first time is crazy.
Yeah.
My solo though, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I know some people are probably nervous, but I was just so excited. I was like, I can't wait to do this.
Mhm.
Like it was the best thing ever. I had such a fun time.
I mean, was anything scary about flying up until your solo yet?
For me, no. Like I was so excited about it all.
Mhm.
Like it was just such a fun experience.
Yeah.
Everything was because I've like skydived and paraglide and all that stuff. So just being up there, like I wasn't scared of anything.
Yeah.
Like sure now learning about some stuff is like okay, there's situations that you can get in, but
Mhm.
now it's like I know the knowledge to get myself out of that situation. At the
Yeah.
time, I was probably too like innocent to know anything about it all,
Yeah.
and so I was just kind of there on a high of just flying.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool place to be. It sounds um like growing up, is there anything that maybe looking back was maybe an indicator that, oh, this isn't too far fetched for you?
Probably like me just doing like we had a zip line in my backyard and
Uh-huh.
like I was on that thing all day long.
Yeah.
And we had like a tree house with our trampoline like next to it and we'd jump off the tree house onto the
Yeah.
trampoline. So probably just like doing like crazy stuff when I was just little.
Just doing, because I was like that. I was climbing on all kinds of
Oh
things,
yeah.
and I was always looking for some sort of thrill, or I wanted to like
Yeah.
take my bike off a ramp or something. You
Right.
know what I mean? Go down some stairs. So that's pretty cool to hear. Well, you do your solo,
Mhm.
and a lot of people say at this point like they gain a lot of confidence.
Oh yeah.
And was that something that crossed your brain?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You definitely like the confidence is crazy because it's like you're in there by yourself flying that plane.
Mhm.
And it's like if something happened, it's on you.
Mhm.
And so it's really it's I don't even know how to put it, but like
I feel like it's probably empowering, kind of
yeah.
encouraging in a way.
Yeah.
Like if you can do that, then it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, and like when you land, you're like, I just did that.
Yeah.
Like, I just did that, and, like, you came back in one piece, and so
Uh-huh.
everything is awesome. I know from the instructor side, sending someone off to solo, it's definitely like, "Alright, like, they
Uh-huh.
almost back?"
Yeah.
Like, I had one student solo, he called me, and I was like, "Crap, something happened," because like,
Why?
he's on
Yeah.
his solo, and he called me. You normally don't call the instructor unless something goes wrong, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh crap," and, I was definitely freaking out a little bit, but everything was fine.
It
It
was
was just yeah, it's just like a faulty message, like the sensor was
Yeah,
wrong.
he's like, "Hey, is this good?"
Yeah, but I was like, "What's going on?" Like, I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, I just stopped every conversation I was having. Like, "What do you need?"
That would have been
um,
concerning, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. What's it like? What is landing the plane not like one of the most scary things?
I don't know. Like, it's watching someone else do it. Yeah, like watching a brand new private student try to
Yeah.
land the plane for the first time. You're kind of like, "All right, like, come
Yeah.
on, like, pull it back." Like, or because like as a CFI, you know it's gonna slam into the runway.
Mhm.
If they don't, and
Mhm.
so from that point of view, yes. But as like a student, I was sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm landing the plane, like this is so cool.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's like sure, a couple of them may have been like slam and goes, what we call it, but like you slowly learn the sight picture and what you're looking for and all of that,
Right.
and then it just comes like second nature, I'd say.
So if you could go back in and give yourself one piece of advice before you started flight school, what would it be?
Yeah, definitely get involved.
Mhm.
Cause like the more people you know, I feel like the more comfortable you'll feel.
Mhm.
Like if you grew up around aviation, like it's gonna feel like normal. If it's like your first time ever in a little airplane, then it's like that can definitely be scary. And so it's like get connected. Just talk to people and like have discovery flights. Like
Mhm.
that's a fun thing to do. And it definitely it the discovery flight is like kind of when you make that decision on if you want to do this or not.
Yeah.
And so also having like someone fun do the discovery flight as well. Like if
Mhm.
you have some like old cranky guy, like you're kind of sitting there like this isn't that fun. It's like then it's gonna put your point of view like maybe I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But if you have like a good time with it,
Mhm.
then you'll really see how fun it can actually be.
So now that you're a CFI, has there been any moments that are like a light bulb moment for you?
It's definitely been so fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of encouraging to see your students succeed.
Mhm.
And just seeing them like pass their check ride and then continue on and like just grow.
Yeah.
It's such an accomplishment.
Mhm.
And then like your knowledge grows as well. Because as you go through, you learn more and more.
Mhm.
And just also some connections you have with students, it's such a fun time. Like if you can
Yeah.
make those flights fun and have a good connection, like you'll enjoy it a lot.
Mhm.
Um and cuz I know there's some CFIs they're only in it to like get those 1500 hours.
Uh-huh.
But it's like if you actually like talk with the students and like become friends with them,
Mhm.
it's such a fun time.
So, do you remember any times when you were a student that you that you had a thought about what you would do different in the CFI's position? Is there anything that you're looking forward to now that allows you to kind of like correct what you saw on CFIs in the past?
One thing that I like took away from some of my previous instructors is just like
Mm.
being confident in your student,
Mhm.
like knowing that they can do it.
Yeah.
And not always like let them fail too. Like you've got to
Yeah.
let them fail sometimes. You can't learn if you
Yeah.
don't fail.
Right.
Um, and so just having them have those failures and then just like teach them through it. Like stick with them, like don't give up on them.
Hmm.
Even if you don't really like them, just get them through it.
Right.
Like you just have to be there for them
Hmm.
and show that you're confident in them and they'll succeed.
What are some of the things that you like helping students with now that you struggled with when you were a student?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I definitely there's lots of times where like the maneuver wasn't perfect and
Hmm.
like you have to fix it or the landing wasn't great.
Hmm.
And it's all comes with like more and more you do it,
Hmm.
the better you get. And different instructors teach different ways.
Hmm.
So part of being an instructor is learning the way that works for that student.
Hmm.
You can't just teach one thing one way. You
Hmm.
have to teach this thing multiple different ways. You have to figure out what clicks for them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a key thing I would say as an instructor is figuring out what clicks for that student,
Mm.
and what will work for that student. Because if you only teach them one way and it's not working, then like it's just not going to make sense, and they're going to go their rest of their training without really understanding how to do this certain thing.
Hmm.
And so I'd say just kind of being able to teach. things differently. For me, I'm definitely like I have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't just like read it on a paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got all the maneuvers written down, like each step, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
if I read that, okay, sure, I can read it. But
Yeah.
then I'm going into it, I'm like, okay, I know I'm supposed to like bank 50 degrees, but what else am I supposed to do?
Right.
So the way I teach is I show them first.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of like the monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
I show them how to do it, and teach them the little tricks that I do, and then I have them do it, and then I watch them do it and like kind of talk them through it, and then I have them do it, and I just sit there and watch, and then like kind of correct at the end.
That makes sense. Now that you have a bunch of students, what are some of the things that you're working on with those students?
Right now, I have like 7 students. 3 of them are like waiting for an EOC or check ride.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them I'd say are active.
Oh, yeah.
Active just means like we're actively flying.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they get canceled for weather or anything like today.
Right.
But yeah, I'm mainly CFI. I teach CFI students mainly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a couple sprinkle of like commercial, private here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly CFIs.
Were you worried about becoming a CFI? As in, were you worried about whether or not you were capable of teaching someone when you felt new yourself?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely that thought has definitely come across. Like, because if like the first student that you get with, it's like if it's like hard, then you're gonna think, man, is this how all of them are gonna be?
Right.
Because there's definitely some students that like you'll have that will struggle, and you just have to work through it with them, and
Mm-hmm.
then keep them confident, keep them going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you have to keep them motivated, I
Yeah.
guess is the word.
Yeah.
Because that's like they won't get through it unless you are helping them, and
Yeah.
like you got to kind of stick with them.
Does the future stress you out at all? Like, or does it motivate you? Have you seen both sides of it?
I'd say I've seen both sides.
Yeah.
There's definitely like sometimes you just want to be there because it'd be like nicer. You have more of a set schedule and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a CFI, your schedule's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like I don't know, like the stress of it is like, yeah, it's like you want to get there, but then it's like once you're there, like sometimes, like I've thought about like, man, like I want to have some fun with this because once I'm there, like that's the rest of my life, and I'm only 20,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, do I want to do that like the rest of my life? And so sometimes I'm like, man, like maybe I want to enjoy this, have some fun, maybe do something else before I'd go like sign on with a company forever. I'm not entirely sure if I want to go like airlines or corporate or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of leaning towards corporate because that's where my brother is. So
Yeah.
I know I've gotten in there and like
Mm-hmm.
he can kind of help me out with that. Um and I feel like that's also I'm a person like I love one-on-one. I
Yeah.
love being connected with someone. And so with corporate, I feel like you kind of get more of that. You'll kind of actually know the people you're flying a little bit more than just like an airlines with like you get 100 new people every day, every
Yeah.
hour, all of that. So I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards corporate a little bit more just because of that aspect of it.
For those who are new students, what's the biggest piece of advice that you have for them?
Chair flying.
Yeah.
You may feel like it's stupid, you may look stupid, but it really helps a lot. It's just like if you have a poster of it, or even just sit in the planes, like when they're on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and just sit there and like run through the maneuvers in your head, and like kind of sit there and act it out.
Mm-hmm.
That really helps solidify a lot of stuff. Same with like emergencies, it helps get the flow, so then
Mm-hmm.
it gets quicker.
Mm.
So you're not having to think. You can just do it, and it like then like do it and then verify it, and
Right.
then it just helps everything flow a little bit better.
Thinking back to your training, are there any of the maneuvers that were more difficult than the others? Which one kind of stood out as the most difficult?
I'd say so. The hardest one that I'd say to learn was probably like lazy eight. Because with that one, there's really like I know them now a lot pretty well. Like I know a great way to teach them,
Mm-hmm.
but at the time, I felt like I was always doing it wrong, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know why. And I was like, that just didn't feel right. Because with lazy eights, you're supposed to like let the plane fly. It's kind of showing that the plane wants to turn and like it's overbanking tendency and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of doing that felt uncomfortable almost.
Yeah. Like
Um,
you were supposed to force the plane or something?
like you're supposed to just let the plane do its thing,
Yeah.
and like it was just kind of like okay, but like then you're still set to his standards, and I was like, what? Like so it's kind of a little bit of both controlling it while also letting the
Mm.
plane do its own thing. And to me, I was just really like, what?
Yeah.
So I'd say that one was the hardest for me to really get down, but I've got a good method now that I teach, and I
Yeah.
think it really helps students like learn it and like they actually understand what's going on.
Mm.
In like our book that we have, kind of like the step-by-step guide, it's like bank 5 degrees, pitch 5 degrees, bank 10 degrees, pitch 10 degrees. What I
Mhm.
like to do is just bank 5 degrees and then very slowly pull back on the yoke. And then like the
No.
plane is gonna like start to turn on its own. And then with it coming back down, you want to keep it down so you can get back down to the altitude that you started.
Mhm.
And then once you level off, everything will come back and settle.
Mhm.
I think a lot of students kind of look at the airspeed and they're like, oh crap, like I'm too fast because you've
Mhm.
got plus or minus 10.
Right.
So like I'm too fast. But if you let it come down, like keep it down so you get back to your altitude,
Mhm.
and then like as you level off, your airspeed's gonna slowly bleed off, and then you'll
Mm.
be within standards of it. I know with like power off 180s, everyone teaches them differently.
Mhm.
One thing that I teach is like when you cut that power, get to 76 and then turn. Because some people like they like to wait. But for me, like you can always fix high, but you can't fix when you're low.
Mhm.
Like you can get like manipulate the plane to get you lower, but you can't get higher when you're lower because you
Yeah.
can't add any power.
Mhm.
And so I teach it in a way of like when you cut the power, get to 76, which is our best glide, and then turn. And then from there, decide if you're high, need to add a flap or put in a slip and stuff like that.
It seems like the airspeed and managing your airspeed is like a really common denominator amongst all your maneuvers. Do you have any tips for how to manage your airspeed in these situations when practicing maneuvers?
One thing with it is like flaps are gonna take a big toll.
Mhm.
Um, if you're getting in ground effect and you have no flaps, you're gonna want to anticipate that you're gonna float further. Some people I don't think about that.
Mhm.
Especially I know I didn't in commercial.
Mhm.
I was like I knew what flaps did and all that, but like it just wasn't what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so it's like if it feels like you're gonna have no flaps in, like just like based on the airspeed and all that, like try to anticipate that and then like round off in ground effect sooner so then you'll float. Then again,
Mhm.
it's gonna change with winds. If it's a windier day, you don't want to go too far back. You'll still float further than normal, but like it's all about kind of feeling it out and like
Yeah.
feeling how the winds are maneuvering, like pushing you and affecting you.
Mhm.
Every day it's gonna be different. That's what's tough about it.
Mhm.
It's like no day's the same. So another tip that I teach is like get as much of it the same as you can.
Mhm.
Maintain the same distance on every single one you do. Get to your airspeed, get to your altitude. Have everything that you can be the same because you know you can't control the winds.
Right. Are you concerned at all about getting hired into the airlines?
Right now, no. I
Yeah.
can't even go anyways if I wanted to.
Mhm.
I'm not old enough.
Okay.
Uh, and so I've kind of got some time. But I also feel like I've got a lot of connections,
Mhm.
which is a big thing to have. Like, the more people you know, the better off you'll
Mhm.
be. It's like, I kind of like to say, which is a pretty common phrase, it's like, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Mhm.
And so it's having those connections really help because it's like, when you look at it, like everyone at that point, everyone's at 1500 hours, everyone's pretty much the same. So, like, what makes you stand out?
Mhm.
Um, and so that's another thing is like find something that makes you stand out. Don't just be a pilot. I'd say like have something like I've been told it's like they don't want when you're at the airlines, they don't want someone to just sit there and be boring. Like they want someone that they can have a conversation with and they
Mhm.
can talk to and like someone that they'll go to the bar with afterwards and have a beer and actually like enjoy each other's company. So I
Mhm.
think that's kind of what they look for is like they can just have a conversation with you.
Mhm.
Um because I did a soft interview with American,
Mhm.
and like that's what they told me. They were
Mm.
like, "We look for like people you can have a conversation with." It's like, sure, you can have all this great stuff, and
Mhm.
like you can be the best pilot in the world,
Right.
but it's like if we can't talk to you, it's not gonna
Right.
be like what they want, really.
It seems like people skills is one of the most important soft skills, and maybe just lumped in with the rest of the skills is one of the most important skills you could have
Yeah,
in aviation, especially if you're looking to be a career pilot. Do you have any last words to say to anyone who's in training right now before we go?
just stick to it, and like it's gonna be so fun. You're gonna have a great time,
Yeah.
and I really think so.
Well, thank you for sharing your tips and pretty much sharing your perspective from your journey so far. I think it's been very helpful, especially for our viewers to see you come from being a student to become a CFI and to give some, some knowledge on your experience. That's what I'm looking to kind of like highlight. So again, thank you for joining us. If you guys are still listening, I'm assuming you're enjoying the show. This is Pilots Say What, where we hear what pilots have to say, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And my name is Zach. I'll see you guys next week.